I could not even afford to bury my own child. I asked God so many questions, but I couldn't get the answers. I even cursed the day I was born.
At some point, it feels almost unreal. The pain she has gone through cannot be described. It is beyond words.
That pained me so much. She gave me strength when everybody had abandoned me. She gave me strength when I was carrying her in my womb. I knew I had someone who would always keep me busy, no matter the position or the situation I would be. But now she has gone.
We struggle to explain the depth of her suffering. She was tortured and nearly lost her life because of her own husband.
I couldn't look at myself in the mirror because I was always told I am ugly and nobody can ever want to be with me. All those words came back. Every time I would sit down, I would just remember, I would just hear those words ringing in my mind.
The severe beatings left her in a coma. She kept asking her mother for help, never knowing the betrayal happening behind her back.
The cause of my daughter's death was my mom. My marriage breaking was her. The domestic violence was her.
What she has endured is unimaginable. Her survival is nothing short of a miracle.
Now, a lot of you have been asking, I think I get this question every day on my comment section, all my videos that I do. Soipan, why don't you get married again?
This is her story.
A lot of people have always wondered and have always asked, who is Soipan? Who is the Iron Lady? Who is the voice of the voiceless? There she is. I'm here to explain. She is a woman born and raised in the early 80s in Nairobi, Kenya. I was born in Pumwani and raised in Nairobi before I shifted at the age of 2 in Nakuru County. I grew up as a child like any other normal child, being raised by my mom and also her siblings. At the age of 2, I was separated with my mom because she had to live in the Gulf countries to look for greener pastures. So I got a home in Nakuru County. I started my education like any other child. I schooled, went to school, and I remember those days we used to commute because where we used to stay and where the school was a bit far. At the age of 8, my mom came back. But because of the kind of life or where I was living was not pleasing and was not good, I was forced to be taken in a boarding school at a very tender age. There, as every other child, I thought my life would be better. I thought my life would be at least, I would feel like I have a home. Of course, I was taken to a boarding school. So at the age of 8, I have moved again from one home to another home. I went to school and I embraced education like any other child that I found in that school. A school that even today I always say, I am the woman I am the person I am because of the foundation and the upbringing I was brought in that school. Fortunately or unfortunately, it was a boarding school. Like any other child or any other parent, you take your children to boarding school, but after a while, they are supposed to go home. And so I was left in the care of another family, part of the family, that is my uncle. But little did I know, it was not my home for a long time. I only went there about 2 vacations only, and I found myself back in school. Well, everybody used to go home. Martha was always left in school. So I was taken by my principal. I became her daughter, and she raised me. She embraced me. All this happened at a period where I was still very young, and when I realized nobody was coming even for visiting to visit me, I had to ask my cousins, my uncle's children, because where I schooled, that was Musagitao, it was a mixed school of boarding and day scholars. For me, I was a boarding. For them, they were day scholars. But I asked them, why don't you come visit me? Why don't you come pick me when the schools are closed? I received a letter. My reply was a letter. At a very tender age, I couldn't understand vernacular. And so innocently, I had to take it to my principal. And when she read, the only thing she did was to put the letter aside and tell me, from today, you will be my daughter. So I became my principal's daughter, thanks to Mrs. Rohio, a woman of substance, a woman that today, if I start giving her names, I would not even have enough names to give her, because she's a woman amongst women. She's one in a million. She raised me. She taught me how to be a girl and how to be a lady. She taught me good morals. She raised me like her own. She gave me the love that I needed. She clothed me. She made sure that every wound that was bleeding, she would always pamper it. She would always try to cure that wound. I felt home. I felt loved. I knew I had a mom. She raised me. She made me who I am today. And so I stayed with her until I cleared my primary education. That was when my mom came back. And like every other child, I knew that my life will change because my mom is back. I was happy. I jumped because I knew every love, every hug, every sweet name that every daughter or child is called by their mother, I will receive them. But when she came, would I say, is it fortunately or unfortunately again? I don't know how to put this, but in my mind, I kept on telling myself, maybe I'm not lucky to be loved. Maybe, according to the letter I was written, I am a burden. That is what I am, because my mom came and got married. And where she got married, I never had time. I never had time to bond. Let me take you back. A lot of people will ask, what do you mean by bonding? My mom left me at the age of 2 years. She came back at 8 years, took me to a boarding school, flew back to abroad for greener pastures, now came back when I'm 14. So I have no connection, I have no bonding with a mother. So there's a vacuum that already was created at the age of 8 up to 14. Now, when she got married, I thought we would live together, but that was not the case. Every time I would go to school and come back, I would always be taken up country where she had gotten married. So I would come back to home like today, and the next day we are opening school. So there was no time for me and my mom to bond. And today I've always said, and I'll keep on saying, there's nothing precious and something that you can always treasure as a parent like that time you're bonding with your own children. Because as they grow, you will never miss a chance to understand them, neither will they ever miss a chance to understand you. The minute you create a vacuum between you and your children, you create a very big vacuum that maybe in future you'd want to fill it, but it will not be able to be filled because already you allowed a vacuum to be created. Some of the things that happen even for our children and our parents, between their relationship, between their friendship, you ask yourself, where did I go wrong as a parent? But let me tell you something, you created a vacuum and you never thought that that vacuum will bring consequences. So I grew up, my life was from school to rural home. So I did all kinds of chores at home until I cleared my secondary school. But her marriage didn't last. And so when I cleared secondary school, there was no money for me to continue with my education. So I had to fund for myself. And because I had vowed in my heart, even when I was in school, that immediately as I clear school, I want to better my life. I don't want to live the kind of life I was raised for. I started working. I did all kinds of jobs. I did promotion. I washed people's clothes. I bought old newspapers and sold. I went to scrap metals. I had to do what I had to do because I wanted the best for my life. I wanted the best for my future. I wanted to become somebody. I didn't want to become a burden again to anybody because I felt I've always been a burden to people, and that is why I was always abandoned, raised by different types of people. So for me, I will say I never experienced a home or a family. In my life of working, I met a man. And because I never experienced what love is, he showered me with a lot of love, which today I realize was not love. He will take me to work and come for me in the evening. And because I had not experienced such attention and love since childhood, I knew I found someone who loved me and appreciated me. And like any other girl, when you feel loved, when you feel appreciated, when you feel pampered, when you call sweet names, we end up falling in the traps of the wrong people. Soipan fell in love and got married. I never knew what domestic violence was. I knew every time you were slapped, it's because you were loved. And the very first day I was taken by him to his home or house, the very first day I received my first slap. And it became a habit. A slap and a sorry. Insults and a sorry. I lost all the jobs I used to do because I would always go to work wounded, a black eye. I would limp because maybe I was hit hard. I couldn't walk. And the only place I could run for shelter, the only place I could run to get at least some sorry, some comfort, was in my mother's arms. But anytime I went there, I was always told I'm bad. So I had nowhere to go. All this kept me in that man's house. And every time I would go back, he would tell me, I told you nobody wants you. You have nowhere to go. You will still come back here. I will still receive more beatings. It went on and on and on until it reached a point, if he could not beat me, I would think he's not okay, because my body was already used of being beaten every now and then. I became his punching bag. I received all sorts of insults. I was mocked by people because there was no day I would walk out of my house without a wound, without a black eye. My life became meaningless. I thought of every way I would escape, but I didn't. I remember my last beating was so hard that I collapsed. And by the time I woke up, the doctor asked me, "Do you really want to kill yourself and kill your child?" And I was like, "What child are you talking about?" He told me, "You don't know you're pregnant?" So for me, that pregnancy, I will say, was a wake-up call for me. So I decided I've lost everything. For as long as I've lost everything, I don't want to lose my life and my baby. So I have something to keep me going. I have something to give me a reason to wake up and, and go on. I had hopes. And so when I left the hospital, I started my life again. This time, Soipan has no job. This time, I have nowhere to go. So I remember I looked for a house. It was a muddy house. And I used to pay 400 shillings and buy water and pay toilet and bathroom. And so when I left the hospital and I started life again, I went back to my casual jobs. I would clean people's clothes. I'll still do scrap metals. I'll buy old magazines and magazines and newspapers and sell. And when he realized I had moved on, so his life was to always wait for me on the streets when I'm leaving work. And because I'm not aware that someone is following me or someone is waiting for me somewhere, he would always attack me. That went on and on and on and on. And I know a lot of people are wondering, why would you not report him? If I remove the obis, I had taken him to the police like a million times, and the way he used to come out, I never knew. You'd arrest him in the morning and by 10, he's out. So I had already gotten tired. Like all of you know, in Kenya, when you have something, when you have power, when you have money, even if someone tries to do anything for you, you become touchless. So for me, because I didn't have money, I didn't have any power. All my only strength I had was going to report him being arrested, being released, he'll come back and attack me, and I had nothing else to do. So it went on and went on until that day I felt I needed to go to deliver my baby. So I went to hospital, and like any other woman who is expectant, you're always eager to wait for your baby. I got complications. I went into labor for so many days, I remember. It reached a point I even told the doctor I wanted an operation, but they told me, your condition is serious, we cannot put you on operation. So we'll still continue inducing you water until the baby is out. I went through a lot of pain. A lot of pain. People will come and deliver and leave me on labor ward. And you know how frustrating and how painful that is. But luckily, our God in heaven blessed me with a very beautiful bouncing baby girl. But when my baby was born, the doctor asked me, "Were you going through domestic violence when you're pregnant?" I asked him, "Why?" "Because your child has wounds. Your child is not like any other normal child." So my child was taken into the incubator, and I'm next to my daughter and just looking at her struggling for her life. it pained me. Because all the beatings I experienced, all the beatings I went through when I was pregnant, I never knew I was supposed to always go for checkups. And I didn't even have that kind of money to always go to the hospital. By then, like people say nowadays, maternity is free. Everything was being paid. After a while, I lost my daughter. Something that pained me so much. After all the struggles of pregnancy, of labor, I lost my hope. I lost my strength. She gave me strength when everybody had abandoned me. She gave me strength when I was carrying her in my womb. I knew I had someone who would always keep me busy, no matter the position or the situation I would be. But now she has gone. I could not even afford to bury my own child. I asked God so many questions, but I couldn't get the answers. I even cursed the day I was born. If I couldn't save my baby, I cannot even be able to bury her. That pained me so much. So when my daughter died, I remember it was during the post-election violence. That was after my daughter's death. My mom took me in. But even when she took me in, my ex-husband, because we had separated, kept on looking for me. And every opportunity he would see me on the road, he'll always beat me and tell me I killed my baby. And there's one day I just got the strength and looked at him and told him, "You've been beating me. I want you to answer me. How do you think I would carry a pregnancy for 9 months, go into labor and give birth to a child and still kill that child? Am I really crazy? You never wanted me. You've always beaten me when I was pregnant. Why are you so concerned right now that my daughter is dead? You never even bothered to come and know how she was buried." And I had to relocate because now I could not bear even the environment I used to live. So we relocated and we went to Dandora, those people who know Dandora. And so we started life again there. And because my mom had started falling ill, I didn't wait for myself to get healed. I started working because I had to pay the bills because she had taken me in. I had to take care of her medical bill, had to take care of the bills of the house, the rent, the food, the water, the electricity, and I had to go back to my casual jobs. As I apply for better jobs now. And so during that time, I decided I wanted to go back to church. Why? Because when I was married, I was not supposed to go to church. And I never knew the kind of person I was married to until I started living together with him. He was in the cults of not going to church and not believing in Jesus Christ. So me going to church became a standstill when I was in marriage. But now that we had shifted and started life again, I decided to go back to church. I kept on working and going to church. And because I loved so much Kesha, I started going to a Queen's Night ministry, those people who remember those times. And during Sunday, there was always a service, and I used to go to their church now. I went there until one day, the main pastor recognized me and was like, this girl has been coming to Kesha, coming to church very early, always praising and worshiping nicely. Would like to know her. And so I was given an opportunity to introduce myself in church. So after that, one of the pastors approached me and told me, I've heard you said you live in Dandora. I also live in Dandora. Maybe we can exchange contacts. Then when we have a fellowship, you can be coming along. And because I had missed that bond between me and my God, I saw it was a good opportunity, because now I would not be coming all the way to town for fellowship, but during the week I would have time within the estate in Dandora. So I went for fellowship. Until one day the pastor asked me, what kind of job would you like to do? I told him, I'll give you my CV if you can try get me a better job rather than what I do, because that time I was still cleaning people's clothes. And so he offered to take my CV and look for me a job. And I never knew he had a motive. I took my CV to him, and after some while, he gave me a call and told me, I got you a job, and the person who is employing you is in my house. So you can come so that I introduce you to him, and then you can know when to start the job. Because I was tired and I was really asking God for a blue-collar job, I knew that my life of struggling, cleaning people's clothes, looking for old newspaper had come to an end. I rushed. But that was not the case. Not all that glitters is gold. On my arrival, I knocked the door and I was told to come in. So I pushed the door inside for me to get in. But I didn't know what was awaiting for me. The same pastor, the same man of God that I trusted, the same person that I knew I was safe, turned and became an animal to me. He overpowered me unaware. He caught me from behind. And by the time I thought I could rescue myself, it was too late. Because already he was prepared. He defiled me. He raped me, torn my clothes, and threw me out of his house. I went home devastated. I felt dirty. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. And all the questions that I ever asked God when I lost my daughter came back. Why me? Where did I ever go wrong? Whom did I offend? You took away my daughter. You took away my marriage. You have never been with me. I've gone back to your house, but you have also turned against me again. Where do I turn from here? Who do I tell? Where do I go? And from there, I tried all sorts of ending my life, but it was all in vain. Suicidal thoughts were always lingering in my mind. But there was nothing. Everything I tried, nothing came positive. Later on, I felt sick. I went to the hospital and I was told I'm expectant. I gathered courage and went and approached him and told him, after what you did to me, this is the results. There is no word I was not told. You're not my class. I can never raise a bastard. I am building my career. You will not destroy my career. I was taken to the hospital and I was forced for an abortion. But God never allowed the abortion to take place. I managed to escape. Today, when I remember or when I recall the pains and frustrations I went through in the 9 months of carrying my son, I thank God. I raised my son. I carried the pregnancy because life became more harder. And as much as I tried, even suicidal, nothing happened until I decided I'm gonna raise my child no matter what. I always thank God because my son was a blessing in disguise. I carried my 7 months pregnancy. I couldn't carry it to 9 months because I developed pressure. And so I was always in and off of the hospital. So during delivery, I was told the chances were 50-50. It's either they save me or they save the baby. And I looked up and I told God, you have carried me through. Now it is time for you to show me that you've always been with me. No matter what I have called you, no matter what I've gone through, I want you to prove to me that you're with me. And so when the doctors had already decided it's either me and my son, they were shocked because both of us survived. My son went into nursery for 7 days because it was an operation delivery. After that, we conquered and went home. And I remember when I was leaving the hospital, I vowed and I told God, just like you have conquered for me this battle, walk with me and my son so that I will never think of looking back to look for his father. Bless me mightily that my son will never lack anything that will force him to ask, where did my father go? God was faithful. Something that even today I tell God, if there is something I will always do, is always depending on him because he has never abandoned me. I raised my son and today I call him my man because he has become a person that understands, that knows, that feels my pain, that knows how I'm feeling. And our journey has been a journey of grace, a journey of favor, a journey of testimony from one testimony to another. But like always in life, there are always ups and downs. And life became, I would not say easy, but God has always walked with us. I never looked for my son's father until the year 2020. All of you know the tragic that cost the whole world, COVID-19. I had left work around 3 a.m. in the morning. I used to work in the hotel industry, and I came home and I just took a shower and I was about to sleep. Well, I received a call from one of my aunties, and she asked me, "Where are you?" I told her, "I'm just from work. I want to sleep because tomorrow I need to get to work again." She told me, "Has your mother called?" I told her no. She told me, "Wait, she will call you." Immediately before I hung up her call, my mom's call started coming in. And so I told her, "Hang up because I can see her calling me." And so I picked her phone, and she was crying and telling me, "Come and tell your husband to stop beating me." And I asked her, "My husband?" She said, "Yes, your husband." "Which husband?" She called him his name. So I got shocked and I hung up and I called my aunt. And my aunt told me, "Has she told you?" "Yes." So my aunt told me, "Is this not the man? It's been over 15 years. You people separated. And by the time you guys were separating, this person had beaten you almost to death. We even looked for him, but we couldn't find him." "Yes." Okay. So my aunt told me, "Wait, because it's still 4 a.m. in the morning. Wait until 5. We go and see what is happening." But I couldn't. I could not even sleep. I was so uneasy. And so like after an hour, I told my aunt I had to go. So my aunt told me, "It's okay. You leave. I'm also leaving. We meet." So I'm the first person who got to my mom's house. And because I was angry, I really wanted to know, where has this man come from and is beating my mom? So I went and walked in the house. But with all the anger, all the force I had come with, something stopped me. Getting into the house, the position I got my ex seated in my mom's house, I lacked word. I became dumb. I couldn't even talk. Actions speak louder than words. Before I could sit down, my auntie got in. She was also shocked on what she saw, but she got the courage to ask questions. She asked, "What are you doing here? Why are you in my sister's house? What right do you have to beat her? And you, my sister, why is he in your house? What right has he got over you to beat you? And for how long has this go on?" So my mom could not answer. And so the man got the courage to answer my aunt. And the answer he gave shocked us all. "Don't you know we've been husband and wife over 15 years? Don't you know we've been together?" And my auntie was like, have I heard clearly, or am I dreaming? This man said, "No, I've said what it is." "So does it mean even when you're married to the daughter, you are still with her?" Yes, she was the one behind every time I was being taken to police, she was the one coming for me. She was the one releasing me. When you guys looked for me, when I had beaten her almost to death, she was the one who had hid me. I could not wait for any other explanation. I had to walk out and run. My heart could not carry the betrayal, the pain. That time my son was 12 years old. I went home, and the pain of losing my daughter in 2008 came back. The wounds that I had tried to heal and forgot came back. I locked myself in my bedroom. I cried. I wondered, whoever said that the only person that can carry someone's pain and child is a mother? Whoever said that, that proverb is a lie. But whoever said the closest person in your life is your worst betrayal, that person was very right. So the cause of my daughter's death was my mom. My marriage breaking was her. The domestic violence was her. I lost my jobs. I lost my sanity. I lost my dignity. I lost my pride. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror because I was always told I am ugly and nobody can ever want to be with me. All those words came back. Every time I would sit down, I would just remember, I would just hear those words ringing in my mind. And I remember my son would knock my door. Mom, why are you not opening? What's happening? And I kept on asking God, I'm not living here because I want to know, is this my real mom? Did she really carry me for 9 months? My heart was stabbed. My heart was heavy. I cried until I could not cry anymore. And so I couldn't lock myself in the room the whole day. At the end of the day, I knew I had to open that door and face my son. With or without the answers I needed, I had to gather strength and put a smile for my son. I opened my door and I told my son I'm fine. And so I prepared, we had dinner and slept. And the next day was like any other day to go to work. I woke up in the morning and prepared myself and went to work, only to reach at work and the government announces all restaurants to be closed down. So when I thought my work would keep me busy and not make me think of what I've seen, what I've heard, what I've gone through, all restaurants were closed, and being in the hotel industry, we were forced to go home. Schools were closed too, so my son is at home. And whether I like it or not, I cannot pretend anymore. So I had to put up a lie and tell my son, I'm just stressed, you guys are at home, we've lost our jobs, when will COVID-19 end? So 2 weeks later, I received a call from one of the sisters and she told me, your mom said sorry. That's all. So I said, it's okay. If she said sorry, well and good. So there was no explanation, this is happening or this happened, why. She just said sorry. So I said, it's okay. After a few days, she fell sick and she called me and I went. and I found she was in a critical condition. So when I went to the hospital, she was already transferred, and we were told we were supposed to take her either to Kenyatta or Kijabe. And because of COVID-19, all of you remember that time, the Kenyatta National Hospital used to take in only emergencies cases of COVID. So it's like the whole facility was filled with COVID people. So, and then we could not go to Kijabe because we were now living from one county to another, and the government had locked down people traveling from one county to another to avoid the spread of COVID-19. So the only option I had was to take her to a private hospital, an orthopedic hospital that was St. Peter's along Wayakiwe by then. So I took her there. She got admitted and she started getting treatment. She had no one else but me. I closed my ears and I took care of her. The whole of 2020, with no job, all my saving, all ended up with her medical bills. I lost my property, I lost my car, because I had to do everything I had to do to pay her hospital bill. She stayed in the hospital for a very long time because she went through surgery, she went through skin grafting, she went through blood transfusion. She needed a lot of medical expenses, was too much. And I'm the only child. I had to put my anger behind, and I told God to give me the grace. And so I just decided to forgive and do what I was supposed to do. She was still my mother, and she will remain my mother. When she recovered, she came home. I took care of her for about 2 months, and during end of 2022, that is December 2020, she went back to her home. So she went and stayed for about 1 month, and she could not communicate. So one day I decided, since it's now year 2021, New Year, let me go and check on my mom, how she's doing. We were actually, remember it was on a Sunday, we had just left church with my son. And I had to tell someone to give me fare because I had nothing. Even during that 2020, because our government had started the new syllabus of CBC, my son was in those classes that were supposed to go back to school. But when my son went back to school, because I could not afford school fees, my son had to come home. So the whole of that year, my son missed school. My house became a house that my son wondered, how did we ever reach here that my mom cannot even put food on the table for us? So I borrowed money that Sunday after service, and I went to see my mom. So before I got to my mom's house, my son asked for a sweet. So I had a coin. So I gave my son the coin and told him, go buy the sweet as you meet me at grandma's house. So when I got to the house, I expected to find my mom, but I found them with the same man, enjoying themselves, eating. Then I wondered, this person has not been around the whole time. 9-10 months my mom was sick. I never saw him. My mom said, I'm sorry. Actually sent a message to the sisters, I'm sorry, I'll leave this man, nothing else. Now they're together, having fun, enjoying, eating. Well, I've even borrowed fare to come and see here. Because I didn't want my son to watch what I've seen, I had to turn before my son gets in and we go back. So my son kept on asking me on our way, why didn't we not get into Shushu's place? And I told him, no, Shushu is not around. Okay. Why don't you call her? I don't have credit. I had to put up a lot of lies. I came home and I could remember on our way, I was even wondering, why is this car not going fast? Because I really wanted to get into my house and lock myself and, cry the bitterness, the pain again. Now this thing is coming back now with a lot of force. So when we got home, so many things happened. I became a person that I think I never knew who I was anymore. Because now I've never gotten answers, and these things are happening every now and then. Who will understand me, or who can understand what I'm going through? But I never got anyone. So during that time, my son could not still go to school. And so one day my son asked me for food. There was no food. So I told him to go and there was a grocery where we used to stay. So I told him, go to that grocery and tell so and so to give you a banana. I'll come and pay. So when my son went there because he was hungry, that the owner of the grocery insulted my son in vernacular and told him in vernacular, but I'll put it in English for you to understand. Your mother's work is just to borrow. She doesn't pay. First, go and tell her to pay before I hand over anything to you. So when my son came and told me that, I really felt bad. And before I could even answer my son why he was told that, for the first time in 12 years, that was the day my son asked me, Mom, why are we suffering? Where is my dad? A question I had told God never to allow my son ever ask me. But 12 years down the line, that question came. I didn't answer my son. Like always, I locked myself in my room, cried, prayed, and that day I decided to look for his father. And because I every time you go to online and I would see his father is now a popular person, a known pastor, traveled abroad, opened big churches and all that. So I looked for him and I told him, but like always, he blocked and denied us. I tried every means of ways to get to him, but everything I tried was blocked. And I had no choice but to open up and tell my son the truth, because I knew no matter how hard I tried to hide, the truth will still come out. I told my son it was not easy for him. I was still very weak at that point. And I realized that when I was going through all this hardship, when I was even trying to clear and pay my mom's bills, I used to have a lot of friends. But that time was when I realized I never had friends, because I had even opened a WhatsApp group. But I remember there's a day I slept and woke up and found the WhatsApp group was only having 3 people. Some of the trials and tribulations that we go through, we curse God. But some of the things that God allows us to go through is because He wants us to know the people around us, who really they are. It's not because He hates us. He loves us so much. I've always been a very good giver, but during that time, I looked for people to give back to me, but I never found. 2021 April was when, after locking myself days, I felt sick. I was taken to hospital because it is my son who called for help. I was already in depression, had lost myself. But the person who held my hand made me realize that there is one person who truly loves me, with genuine love, with love that is unconditional, and that is God and my son. And I had to come back. I had to do what I had to do for the sake of my son, and also to allow God to do for me what He really wanted me to do. I came back home. I dusted myself. I woke up. I decided to start again with my casual jobs, no matter what. My son had to go back to school. I had bills I had to pay. I had to speak for the people who cannot speak. And that is how the name The Voice to the Voiceless came. Because no matter how hard they tried to break me, I never broke. I became the iron lady that you see today. My journey is long. It can never come to an end. But I conquered, and I'm still conquering. Life can be very unfair at times, because even after I went on social media even to look for his father, he still denied. My son has been my strength, my backbone, my source of hope and inspiration in all that I do. A lot of people out there I know have children with prominent people, maybe through gender violence, through rape. You try to do everything you can, but you're cut off. But I'm here to encourage you. If I have risen, you have brought up Gabriel, you can also do it. The only father that can make you kill yourself because he has denied you is your creator. That is God. But if God is still with you, never try anything stupid for that person to acknowledge your child, whether she is a woman or he's a man. I know a lot of people might be wondering, after exposing the father of my son, what happened? It is a story that will still continue. A lot of questions. What happened? You aired the story. Then what happened? Did your life change, Soipan? Did your son's life change? Did the father recognize him again after, Now, not like I've always said, not all that glitters is gold. I aired the story, yes. He continued denying. But immediately the story was aired. The next day, Soipan received a call. I totally remember, like, it is so fresh in my mind. I had just finished my house chores in the house. Kama kawaida, every woman wakes up in the morning on a Saturday. You want to do general cleaning, you want to remove your curtains, you want to do laundry. And I'd just done all that, taken some tea. And then I decided, let me just take a nap and rest my back. And I receive a call. And this call comes. Hello, are you Martha? Yes. You've been reported at Kinyago police station. You need to bring yourself to the DCI office. Someone has complained that you aired your story and you put his picture all over social media and you're answerable to that. And I was like, okay, so who are you? I'm a DCI at Kinyago police station in Dandora. I need you immediately. So I hung up the phone, and even before thinking of what next to do, I receive a call from the mother. So the mother has no idea the son has taken me to the police station, and the mother calls me and tells me, I want us to sit down, and before we sit down, I want you first to bring my grandson. In fact, you're not supposed even to name my grandson the name you've named him. And I'm like, okay, who are you? I'm the mother to so and so. So you're the mother to so and so. You've just seen the story. You don't know. You never recognized me. You never knew I ever existed. Now that you've heard I have a son somewhere, you insist I had to bring my son to you, and to make the matter worse, change also the name. I remember that time I was just about to call my dear friend Lingugi, and luckily or unluckily she called and she told me, so how far is the story? I guess your phone is ringing a million times. I even told her I was about to call you. I've just received a call. I've been summoned by the DCI. Where? And who has reported you? Mr. Sammy Cairo. Okay. So she tells me, forward me the number. I'm the one to make the call. So she calls and tells the DCI, unfortunately, the channel is mine. I'm the one who aired the story. I'm the one who put those pictures there. I have evidence. Why? Because even before I aired the story, I made a call live. He denied, he blocked us. And so I had no other choice because I knew the lady was talking the truth. So unfortunately, she can't come today. Allow her to come tomorrow and she will come with me. So the DCI said yes. So the next day I woke up and I prepared myself. And by the time I got to Kinyago police station, I found Pastor Sammy Cairo there with the wife, the police officer. So when I got there, I told the DCI, yes, I'm the one. Yes, he defiled me. I have my OB number the day he defiled me on March 2009. This is the OB number. So they went to the records, and I remember that time there was no this computer. Nowadays in the OB, you guys, if you had any case with the police station, nowadays they don't write on the big book they used to write. So they had to search for those books, and they saw, and it was there. But the officer that was in charge, I think he had died or he was transferred. They could not get rid of him. And because this money that time had money, there was no way my case would have been taken seriously. So there was a lady here, and I really thank God because that office had a lady and two men. So that lady asked this man, so that now that we have the evidence, do you still want to continue with these charges? Did you rape her? Yes. Does she has your daughter, a son? Yes. So were you called? Because now we can see. Yesterday you came and reported. She has even said, I have enough time to sit down and watch this video and realize that even before this story was aired, there was a live call. And how you responded. So the officer was very much ready. Martha, do you have time? I have all day. Take your time and watch the movie. So they were watching and they were just forwarding until it got to a point they even had the phone calls and how the response was. So this officer, the DCI, asked Pastor Sammy, do you still want to continue with the case? Because me, I will tell you very well, you've already gone viral and there is no way of turning back. So you either take responsibilities or you sit down with this woman and sort things out. So I remember when we were at Kinyago, he said, I want to withdraw the case. Okay. Luckily, by that time I got there, God had already made a way. I had already gotten a pro bono lawyer. A lawyer who was ready to take me to court and fight for justice for my son. So when he withdrew the case, he insisted the mother wanted to see me. So the mother came and saw me and still insisted they want their son back. I told them, there's no you can take my son back. You've never seen him for 12 years. Why now? Just because I have a son? That cannot happen. So, okay, you go home. I will plan when we meet and we'll sort things out. So I came home, I relaxed. And 6 months passed. And so my lawyer asked me, it's been 6 months. Have these people ever reached out to you? No. So it's high time we take action. So a letter was drafted to them. And when the letter was drafted, before they replied, I remember he called and asked me for the fee structure of my son. So I sent him a fee structure. And that time, the only thing he paid, I remember he paid 10,000, sent me the receipt. Then later, went mute. So when another letter was sent to him for them to come and sit down, we have a discussion, that was when they looked for a lawyer, and the lawyer sent a message to us through a letter that he has denied he has a child. If he still insists my son is his child, we go for a DNA test. And I agreed. And since, according to law, when you request for a DNA test, you're the one to pay. So we went for a DNA test, which he never turned up. We were at the hospital the whole day until we made a call. We were given a funny excuse, and from there it was back and forth. We went for a DNA test, there was always an excuse. Another DNA test was always an excuse. A pro bono meeting was always an excuse. Then now, that was when the lawyer started exchanging letters. Then I started receiving threatening calls. Then a lot of demands from the mother that they want my son to stay with them. I refused. It became so frustrating that my son got into fear. My son could go home or go to school with a lot of fear. It really attracted so many phone calls that really kept us in so much fear. To an extent, I remember last year, March, that was 2023 on March, we went to court. And that was when I said, I've left everything to God and I'm not ready for a back and forth thing. So if people think that Sammy Cairo stood up and took care of his son, he has never done that. It has always been one excuse to another. I had to give up. And by the time I gave up, actually it is my son who told me, I'm not ready to leave school again, mom, for DNA for someone who doesn't come. After all, he denied me before I was born. He wanted me killed. So, mom, I believe you can still raise me like you've always raised me. And God will always make a way for you to put food on the table for me and to give me the best education that you've always given me since I joined school. So it has not been an easy journey. And I would want to encourage any person there who is really pressing charges and working hard for maybe your child to get rights or support from the father, and they are not ready to do that. Please, please, stop wasting your energy, wasting your precious time. That time that you're wasting chasing him and fighting, having a back and forth with lawyers and court issues and court time, work it on making money and making yourself something productive for your children to salute you in the next future. And I'm saying this with a lot of confidence because I had to even report to the police station, because when I refused to hand over my son to them, it became a lot of, I got a lot of threats and all that. And I remember even immediately when I was taken to the police station that day, I even placed some messages. I had received a lot of insults from the sister. The sister called me all sorts of names. So even when we were at the police station, I had every right to open another case of being also insulted, because I asked him very well. Even I still have the letter that he withdrew the case, and he wrote, "I'm ready to stand up for my wrongs and I want them to make them right." But he has never done so. And I'll still say today, just like I said on my first show, I don't take vengeance. I leave it to God. Because if I still hold the grudges, if I still hold the bitterness, I don't think I'll be where I am today. I don't think I would have managed to bring up my son to where he is. Today, my son is a teenage, 14 years old. Yet, what he has seen, what he has experienced, what I have taught him has made him the man he is today. So I'll still keep saying, and I'll still keep on saying, Pastor Sammy Cairo, I left you in the hands of God. I don't have money to pay lawyers. Neither do I have money to run to court and bribe and do the DNA test and waste money on forging. I'm not ready for that, and I don't even have that money to waste. But like the saying goes, karma is real. When it comes back with no mercy.
Now, a lot of you have been asking, I think I get this question every day on my comment section, all my videos that I do. Soipan, why don't you get married again? Yeah. That's how it is. And today I've been challenged. My director have told me, you have to answer your guess. They are right. All right. I had once said I'll never get married. And because maybe I still had anger and I still felt like marriage was not for me because of what I went through. But today I'll reverse. Like I said, I'll not get married. I'll just say I'll get married, but not now. I think I haven't gotten the right partner. And at the right time, I'll get married. I've realized not all men are bad. Not all men are narcissists. Not all men are sadists. Not all men are evil. Marriage is a beautiful thing, and marriage was ordained by God. So I'll just say it's like maybe my marriage was maybe on the bad side, but at the right time I'll get married. Please don't come again and start asking me, what are you looking for in a man? No, that's my secret. And for those who are in marriage and your marriage is working, I pray that may God continue giving you the strength to work for your marriage. For those who are still waiting at the right time like Soipan, I want to wish you the best. So I'm not saying I'm not gonna get married again. I will definitely get married. I believe I shall walk down the aisle. I believe you guys shall come and celebrate me. Kuvunjika kwa mwiko sio mwisho wa kupika ugali. So I still have hope I'll get married to the right man, to that man that will make me feel complete as a woman and make me feel happy. So in another question people have been, I think I've answered that one. So my other question people have been asking me, why did you still continue staying there no matter what happened? That one I already answered. Another question people ask me, do you still believe that you'll get someone, or you'll trust someone and take him to your family members? Yes, people change. And of course, if today I get married, my family members should be present, because no matter where I go, they're still my family. They will never change. Their blood is still my blood. So nothing will change. I'll still take my partner there. Yes. And like I've started by saying, not all men are bad, not all men are sadists, not all men are betrayals. So at the right time, the right man will come, and Swepan will get married. So continue praying for me positively. Those people who think Swepan will not get married, now I've answered, I will get married. But I'm not saying tomorrow, so don't pressure me. Just hold on there. Because you're still here, you'll meet that person who will get married to me. Yes, at the right time. I'm not saying sooner or later, but at the right time, and that is God's time. I think I've answered your questions, guys. Do you have any other question remaining? I think I've answered most of the questions that you guys have been asking me. I've answered the challenges I face. I did that a video. I faced a lot of challenges and I've overcome them. And I do overcome them because of the grace of God that surpasses all understanding. Yes. So comment section, I think I've answered you. And I'll still put this warning. Please, men, stop coming to my DM. Imagine I'm tired of your messages, and it has reached a point most of you are saying you're ignoring us. I'm not in a hurry to get married. I'm really not in a hurry to get married. I'm not in a hurry to get married. Yes, I'm not in a hurry to get married. And I wish all those people who are still waiting for their right partners, I wish them the best. And may God give you the right partner. My prayer is that may marriages work in our society. May marriages work in our society. If you are a man, you've been blessed. You can even marry 3 wives and give them good life. Go ahead. Even in the Bible, it is very legally recommended. As long as unaweza kushibisha mabibi zako waoe na kila kitu itakuwa sawa. Sawa sawa. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for always listening to me. Please, please, please continue subscribing, liking, sharing. And also as you subscribe, don't forget to press the notification bell so that every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified and you'll not be left out. So anything that is coming will be notified. Once again, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And wait for more and more and more and more videos coming. Baraka Tele.